Haunted homes, cursed jails, and eerie cemeteries. These all have one thing in common: you can find them in the Deep South. These are the top 5 places in Louisiana you should never visit, so if you do, don't say I didn't warn you. Starting with the Myrtles Plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana. It's called one of America's most haunted homes, and honestly for good reason. At first glance, the Myrtles Plantation looks like a dreamy slice of Southern history, complete with moss-draped oaks and a wraparound porch, but don't let that charm fool you. This place is riddled with spirits. The most infamous ghost? Well, Chloe. Legend says she was an enslaved woman punished for eavesdropping by having her ear cut off. In retaliation, she allegedly baked a poisonous cake that unalived 2 young girls. Now, she was sent to the gallows, and ever since, people claim she appears in a green turban near the old slave quarters. A photograph taken in 1992 reportedly shows her standing actually between 2 buildings, a photo many believe is authentic. But she's not the only one. Guests have reported hearing children giggling late at night only to find empty hallways and nobody even there. Mirrors in the house show handprints on them that actually won't wipe off, and a grand piano in the parlor plays by itself, and quite beautifully apparently, but also, as you can imagine, quite eerily as well. And some guests have fled basically in the middle of the night after seeing full body apparitions standing at the foot of their beds. They literally said, yeah, no thanks, I think I'm gonna head out now. Now, the Myrtles have over 200 years of tragic history. From mysterious passings to Civil War violence, paranormal investigators have called it a hotbed of activity, with nearly every room said to have some sort of haunting. The LaLaurie Mansion, located in New Orleans in Louisiana. Even in a city known for its haunted past, the LaLaurie Mansion stands out as a nightmare frozen in time. Located in the heart of the French Quarter, which, if you're not familiar or never been to Mardi Gras, this is a paranormal super space riddled with paranormal activity. Anyway, this stately Creole mansion hides one of the most disturbing stories of cruelty and supernatural revenge in US history. Get ready and sit tight for this one, friends. Now, in the early 1800s, Madame Delphine LaLaurie was a socialite known for her wealth and influence, but also for the really horrific mistreatment of the enslaved people in her home. In 1834, a kitchen fire led authorities to the attic where they discovered a secret torment chamber. Victims were found chained, mutilated, and barely alive. Some even reportedly had experimental surgeries performed on them. Can you imagine? I mean, I don't want to, but no wonder they're haunting the place, right? Now, the mansion was mobbed and burned, and LaLaurie fled to Paris. She was basically like, see ya, but the spirits of her victims never left, and I don't blame them. I mean, these goo-goos got some unfinished business with her, and they're standing on business, as they should, period. For nearly 2 centuries, residents and visitors alike have reported hearing just a bunch of crazy stuff, like wailing screams, phantom footsteps, and seeing shadowy figures kind of lurking in the upper windows. Now, some even say the ghost of Madame LaLaurie herself still haunts the house, trapped in her legacy of torment. Actor Nicolas Cage actually bought the mansion in 2007 and sold it just 2 years later. You don't say. Now, he never explained why, but insiders say he couldn't handle what was happening inside. I mean, I feel like that is just so on brand for Cage. I feel like I'm not even shocked that he bought it for some reason. I just feel like this is something he would do, honestly. I do love me some Nicolas Cage. I mean, fun fact, I have a pillow with his face on it. We call it Pillowless Cage. Anyway, the place is haunted, so don't visit, or do, and report back. Callingwood Arts Center in Toledo, Ohio. Now, the Callingwood Arts Center is not only one of the oldest buildings in Toledo, but it's also considered one of the city's most haunted places. The Callingwood Arts Center is a registered historical site, once home to a convent. Now, past supernatural sightings include orbs being seen and photographed throughout the facility. There's also a rumor the basement is haunted by the ghost of a nun who passed away down in its depths. Now, unsurprisingly, there has been, ghostly sightings of other nuns throughout the building. Both a friendly and oppressive presence have been ascribed to the different specters who haunt the hallways and the attic. Now, there's even been reports of piano music being played late at night. The Arts Center offers ghost tours, allowing visitors to explore the building and experience the alleged paranormal activity. While the tour is spooky, it does not include jump scares, and VIPs can actually gather for, light snacks and drinks tastings and have access to equipment to borrow, so give it a visit. South Bass Island Lighthouse in Put-in-Bay, Ohio. Now, visitors to the lighthouse report creepy footsteps, slamming doors, and unexplained noises coming from the lighthouse. Eerily, the origin of one notable ghost, thought to actually haunt the building is a century-old mystery. Prior to a smallpox outbreaks in 1898, Sam Anderson had been hired to look after the island lighthouse. Now, when police went to check on Anderson and make sure he hadn't left the quarantine area, they discovered his body at the bottom of a cliff near the lighthouse. Samuel Anderson's demise was ruled actually a self-inflicted tragedy, yet rumors circulated of a more evil demise. Some believe he'd been pushed and his restless soul was doomed to haunt the lighthouse. The basement where Samuel Anderson lived is a focal point of the alleged hauntings, with some believing his spirit lingers there. States that some people state as well that the lighthouse is one of the most haunted must-see places in Ohio. Ryder's Inn, located in Painesville, Ohio. So the hotel, which dates back to 1812, was originally built as a stagecoach stop along the Oregon Trail. Now later it served as a station to basically the Underground Railroad and a speakeasy in the 1920s. Now the hotel's storied past offers guests a very unique chance to kind of embrace Ohio's history during their stay. Ryder's Inn was built by Elias Pryor, who was a local prominent farmer. Many believe that Pryor's spirit still roams the inn, watching over his former home. Its most notorious ghost is Suzanne, who's the late wife of the hotel's owner, who passed shortly after their wedding. She's actually been seen throughout the property, and some accounts mention her coming to the hotel door in her nightgown, where she proceeds to let guests inside, if the hotel owners, of course, aren't around. Also, according to legend, a young girl passed in the inn as well, and her spirit remains often seen playing or running through the halls as little kids would. Now, there's been lots of reports of guests seeing ghostly figures, hearing unusual noises, and some have speculated that because the inn's location is actually built on Native American land, that might contribute to the paranormal activity as well. The inn to this day will host various events such as, mystery dinners, ghost-themed parties, and paranormal conferences. So it's a must-visit destination if you're a ghost enthusiast, history buff, or just looking for a really unique experience should you find yourselves in Painesville. The Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio. Once serving as a state prison, the Ohio State Reformatory housed more than 150,000 inmates throughout its time. This haunted Ohio prison, which is also called the Mansfield Reformatory, has just led to several ghost sightings. Today at the Ohio State, Reformatory, there are several types of paranormal events that have happened, and there's also events that are available for visitors looking to experience its haunted history firsthand. Now, otherworldly presences, at the Ohio State Reformatory include a guard making his round and a shadow person in a former administrative office area on the 3rd floor. Visitors also say they experience strong energy and very unsettling emotions, which is attributed to, the more than 200 people, including 2 guards, who actually passed away in the prison. Lastly, we have the Majestic Theater in Chillicothe, Ohio, known as America's oldest continuously operating theater. Now, the Majestic Theater has been screening into the hearts of film fans since 1853. The restored Masonic, Opera House offers live comedy, movie nights, special events, and a few ghosts as well. The Majestic Theater is actually said to be haunted due in large part to its use as a temporary morgue during the Spanish flu epidemic that swept through nearby, Camp Sherman in 1918. Now, bodies were stacked in the dressing rooms beneath the stage as a holding place until they could be embalmed on the stage, basically. Now, the ghost of a little girl appears to haunt this very historic theater. Past paranormal investigations have actually captured her presence on audio recordings, but she's not the only ghost in this haunted place. Visitors have also reported a very unsettling presence in the hallway and a man dressed in a suit and tie. He's been spotted actually walking up the aisles towards the stage. Which haunted spot in Ohio have you visited or maybe want to visit? Let me know. Thanks for watching. I'm your host, Ashley. Until next time, stay scared. The Perron family's haunted farmhouse. Ed and Lorraine investigated the Perron family's farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island, which was allegedly haunted by evil spirits. The Perron family, including Roger and Carolyn Perron and their 5 daughters, moved into a farmhouse in Harrisville in 1971, where they claimed to experience a series of paranormal events. The family reported seeing apparitions, hearing strange noises, and experiencing poltergeist activity, including objects moving and beds levitating. On August 22, 1973, Ed and Lorraine captured footage of Carolyn Perron, the family matriarch, allegedly becoming possessed by an evil spirit. The footage shows Carolyn's eyes rolling back, her voice changing, and her body contorting in unnatural ways. Andrea Perron, the oldest of the Perron children, said, "These were spirits who had an attachment to the property. 8 generations of one extended family had lived and passed at the farm, and some of them had never left." Starting with the Thurber House in Columbus, Ohio. James Thurber lived in the house from 1913 to 1917, and during his time there, he suffered from various health issues, including a detached retina, which left him almost blind. In 1915, Thurber's brother, William, passed away in the house due to complications from a burst appendix. Currently, the Thurber House is a museum dedicated to the American author and cartoonist who lived there and even experienced ghostly encounters of his own. But centuries ago, the property was built on traces of the Ohio Lunatic Asylum, specifically near the State of Ohio Asylum for the Insane Cemetery. Now, in 1868, the Ohio Lunatic Asylum burned down and the land was divided into 3 residential parts, one of which later became the Thurber House. People who visit the house say they've seen books flying off the shelves and heard footsteps on the back staircase, as well as doors creaking and doors opening and closing on their own. While there's rumors some of the ghostly activity is Thurber, others wonder if it's the distressed spirits from the psychiatric hospital that used to be on the grounds. Licking County Historic Jail in Newark, Ohio. At least 22 confirmed fatalities happened at Licking County Jail, which opened in 1889, and it's said to be one of the most haunted places in Ohio. The 3 sheriffs and 19 inmates who met untimely demises at the jail are thought to be some of the source of most of the building's ghostly activity. There are reports of disembodied voices calling out, cell doors slamming shut on their own, plus sounds of footsteps and kind of jingling keys. It was built in 1889 and operated until 1979, and during its 90-year run, it housed thousands of inmates, all for various crimes, of course. The jail witnessed numerous tragic events, including riots resulting in fatalities, escapes, and even executions. The traumatic energy from these events have had a lasting residual energy that's felt throughout the whole prison. The jail has been investigated by numerous paranormal teams, including ghost hunters and ghost adventures. They've captured evidence of paranormal activity, including audio and video recordings of just unexplained phenomena. Some visitors even say they've had someone whisper in their ear and seen shadowy figures accompanied by, strange lights. If you'd like to visit, you can. They offer guided tours, so if you're brave enough, go for it. The Ridges at Ohio University in Athens, Ohio. The 700-acre property was originally the site of the Athens Lunatic Asylum, opening in the 1800s, built exactly in 1874 for the purpose of providing care and treatment to the mentally ill. The asylum eventually closed down, and the vacant land and buildings transferred to Ohio University around 1993. Because the conditions many patients at the asylum endured, many people believe that their restless spirits haunt the buildings that make up the Ridges. Now, in addition to the uneasy feelings, visitors also report hearing screams, rattling door handles, and figures that seem to vanish in thin air. More spooky encounters can actually be found by hiking the area. Now, basically, one of the trails leads to the Ridges Cemetery, where visitors actually say they encounter the graves of patients from the asylum. There have been numerous tragic events that have taken place here, including, a lot of patients passing. Many fatally passed due to just poor living conditions, inadequate treatments, as well as tragic accidents. In the early 20th century, a tuberculosis outbreak swept through the asylum, claiming the lives of almost everyone there. And in 1936, a devastating fire ravaged the asylum's administration building. The building is actually still open to the public for tours and paranormal investigations. The Hacket Hotel in Marietta, Ohio. Built in 1899, this hotel has reported numerous ghost sightings throughout the building. While overnight guests report seeing, spectral figures, it's nothing compared to the presence that haunts the Galley restaurant. Now, housed in the old Hacket Hotel, the Galley is, basically it's a restaurant known for its food and atmosphere in the heart of historic Marietta. It was built in 1899, and the building was a popular local spot for decades, and was renovated in the 1980s into another restaurant, at which point the ghosts made themselves very known, and the ghostly activity has continued, from bottles crashing to the floor, glasses flying off shelves, and chairs screeching across empty rooms. The spectral incidents are so frequent, many staffers have actually come to believe it's the work of the same ghost, one that they actually named Charlotte. The Franklin Castle in Cleveland, Ohio. Starting in the 1960s, people reported flickering lights, sound of crying babies, and even the ghostly image of a woman in black, who some believe is the ghost of Hans Tiedeman's wife, Louise. Now, Hans Tiedemann was a wealthy German immigrant who built the home between 1881 and 1883, but his wife, Louise, passed in the house in 1895. He actually lost many of his family members in the house, including his own daughter. Hans passed himself under very mysterious circumstances in 1908, with some even speculating that he might have been assassinated. The building wasn't accessible to the public for years, but was recently converted into a haunted attraction. So you can now actually book an overnight stay at Franklin Castle, but be on the lookout for its guests who also roam the halls of this historic spot. People have claimed to have heard whispers, screams, banging, doors opening and closing, of course, on their own, lights flickering, objects moving on their own, and legend also has it that Hans built hidden rooms and secret passages within the mansion and may have even hid a treasure, although it's said to be cursed. Next is the Yorktown Memorial Hospital. This abandoned hospital, which served as a rehabilitation facility, is said to be a hotbed for ghost activity, with many people claiming to have experienced paranormal phenomena. Now, people who managed to get inside were encountering spirits that may have grabbed them from behind, shoved, and even lightly touched. This is a place where many searching for help seem lost. Their spirits seem to be anything but benevolent. Now, the Yorktown Memorial Hospital dates back to 1950, when construction began, and it actually opened in 1951. Now, the Felician Sisters, a group of nuns affiliated with the Roman Catholic Church, these sisters themselves are said to still be in the hospital, or at least an entity basically masquerading as the nuns is there. An apparition of a nun in full habit has been seen many, many times in various areas of the hospital, and it's said that people who visit, who also have tattoos, have been scratched and, rushed presumably by the strict nuns. The 30,000 square foot hospital had administration offices, two-story wings with hospital rooms, a chapel, and a basement. It closed in 1986 and later reopened as a substance and alcohol rehabilitation center, which also closed in the 1990s. Now, the hospital is said to be haunted, with some claiming the spirits of nearly 2,000 people who passed there still linger. The building was featured on the television show Ghost Adventures, where Zach Bagans and his team investigated the alleged paranormal activity. The place is loaded with recorded activity and claims of paranormal occurrences, and that is why it is among the most highly toured and frequently investigated paranormal locations in Texas. Now, the most widely reported apparition at Yorktown Memorial Hospital seems to be a little girl named Stacy. Now, nobody seems to know how Stacy passed away, just that she's very active on the property. She can be found in the library if you sit down and read her story. She has also rolled a ball by request. Another widely seen apparition is the heartbreaking entity named TJ. Now, nobody knows if that's his real name, but the apparition seems to be the ghost of an addict who came to the back door of the hospital needing help. Now, it seems the back door buzzer was broken, nobody answered, and then they found this poor young man's perished body on the back stoop the next day. Although the property is now privately owned, you can take a guided tour for $25. And if you're a paranormal investigator, that's a cool $500. The Alamo in San Antonio, Texas. Way back when, before the Alamo earned its nickname as the Alamo, it was known as Mission San Antonio de Valero. Now, the site for the church perch had been chosen by Father Antonio after the monk's first established mission, which had taken a very horrible turn for the worse. The Alamo is definitely worth remembering though, not just for its pivotal role in the battle for Texas, but also for its haunted activity. Even after the conflict in 1836, many of the battle's perished people were buried in unmarked mass graves. It was not long after the battle had ended that the first sightings, of specters at the Alamo began to surface. So it will definitely be expected that ghosts will be haunting the grounds at night. Security guards have often heard mysterious footsteps. It is said that often construction workers going, and doing work in the Alamo Plaza sometimes pull up skulls and bones. One of the most commonly spotted ghosts at the old mission is that of a blonde-haired boy. He's seen most often in the upstairs left window, which now is actually a part of the gift shop. As the story goes, it is believed that the little boy was evacuated during the siege of the Alamo. Now, although he did survive, it's thought that perhaps his parents did not, and his spirit returns, over and over and over again to the site where he last saw them, which is really sad. Now, during the month of February, his little ghost is seen the most frequently, so go then if you want to see it. Now, a ghostly guard is also still spotted on the south side of the roof, especially on nights when it's rainy or cold. Visitors of the Alamo, which became a museum in 1905, have expressed feelings very, melancholy when wandering through the main chapel area, and some have even felt really depressed, that tears leap to their eyes and they are powerless to control their emotions. Others have reported, hearing voices, whispers, as though the spirits are still experiencing the worry of the impending, battles and footsteps that are lurking. Lastly, we have the Goatman Bridge. Now, this bridge was originally named the Old Alton Bridge, and it's located in Denton, Texas. It was built for horse carriages and later automotive, vehicles. However, the Goatman's Bridge was also the site of a terrible assassination. In 1938, a group of Klansmen, also known as, the Triple K people, assassinated a very successful African-American goat farmer, Oscar Washburn. Now, many who have crossed at night have claimed to have seen, instead though, the demonic figure of a man with a goat's head waiting for them at the other side. So we don't know if it's Oscar or not. Now, it is said that his spirit haunts the bridge almost nightly. Legend has it, if you cross the bridge at night with no headlights on, you will encounter the spirit of the Goatman. Now, whether he is evil or not is anyone's guess. Those who have passed through this Texas haunted location have reported seeing random bright lights, feelings of being touched and grabbed by a mysterious person. Some have even reported having rocks thrown at them. Alternate versions of the ghost story have, also circulated, including one that suggests the bridge is actually haunted by the Goatman's wife. Another story blames the work of Satanists. Now, most versions of the tale tend to include a warning that knocking 3 times on the trusses of the bridge runs the risk of bringing out the Goatman, so don't do that. Over the decades, there have been numerous alleged sightings of a ghost-like apparition with a goat head just haunting the area. Some locals have even claimed to see glowing eyes staring at them on the bridge, while others have claimed to hear splashing in the creek, basically below them, following a very unsettling laughter. Now, in 2017, BuzzFeed Unsolved Supernatural investigated some of these, kind of claims. Now, naturally, none of the ghost stories surrounding the bridge are based on any specific historical facts. Today, the bridge is only used for foot traffic since a replacement bridge was constructed nearby. Which spot in Texas will you be visiting, or which one have you already visited? Let me know. Thanks for watching. I'm your host, Ashley. Until next time, stay scared. These haunted museums are hiding artifacts cursed by the devil himself. First up, the Dybbuk box. Paranormal investigator Zach Bagans opened his very own haunted museum in Las Vegas in 2017, which is home to a number of items that supposedly have. One thing that's housed there is the Dybbuk box, a wine box that is said to be so haunted by a Dybbuk, which is an evil spirit who is supposedly able to possess people. In fact, the box served as the inspiration for the 2012 movie The Possession. Now, the item came to fame when it was listed on eBay along with a creepy story about its past and was eventually donated to Bagans for his museum. Side note, kind of, well, Post Malone? Well, apparently he has actually been cursed by the Dybbuk box. He was at the museum when Bagans decided to take the plexiglass cover from around the box and actually touch it for the very first time. While he was touching the box itself, Post Malone actually grabbed his shoulder, enough apparently to transfer the curse. starting with Skinwalker Cabin. The Skinwalker Cabin is located in the town of Wimberley and is said to be haunted by a malevolent entity known as a skinwalker. According to Native American folklore, a skinwalker is a type of shapeshifter that can take on various forms, including humans and animals. Now, the myth also behind skinwalkers is that they are witches from Navajo mythology who can shapeshift into animals like wolves, coyotes, or birds, basically to cause harm. They possess supernatural abilities such as speed, mimicry, and mind control. There are many shapeshifting figures in other cultures around the world as well. In its animal form, the skinwalker is capable of inflicting pain, illness, or even fatality on its victims. The skinwalker can also possess humans and cause them to behave in very unnatural manners. Now, the skinwalker is typically seen as a malevolent, being and is often associated with witchcraft and black magic. A skinwalker may also use the voice of a relative or the cry of an infant to lure victims out of the safety of their homes. Both humans and animals can easily tell a skinwalker from a real animal, as the skinwalker is unable to move completely naturally in animal form. Now, visitors of the cabin have reported strange occurrences such as unexplained noises, movements, and even physical attacks. Some believe the cabin was built on a site where Native American rituals were performed and that the skinwalker entity is a result of these rituals. One person on Reddit shared their experience at Skinwalker Cabin and gave really great details, so if you want to read it all, check it out on Reddit under No Sleep. It's called My Experience at Skinwalker Cabin. And if reading isn't your jam, you can also watch a 2-hour video on YouTube by the Paranormal Files where Colin actually documents his whole experience at Skinwalker Cabin in Texas and showcases the paranormal activity that he caught on camera. Next up is the Driskill Hotel. The Driskill Hotel, located in Austin, is said to be haunted by the ghost of its former owner, Colonel Jesse Driskill. Now, he opened his spectacular hotel on December 20th, 1886. After investing, though, a staggering $407,000 into the work, rumor has it he lost his pride and joy in a high-stakes poker game. Now, according to legend, Colonel Driskill passed away in the hotel in 1886, and his ghost has been seen by numerous guests and staff. Guests have reported strange things happening, such as, unexplained noises, movements, even sightings of Colonel Driskill's ghost. Now, some believe that the ghost is a friendly spirit, while others believe no, it is a malevolent entity potentially sent from the devil himself, who is determined to drive guests away. Apparitions of ghostly brides or the sounds of a woman wailing and crying are frequent accounts from those brave enough to actually stay in a suite there. And there's been reports of a spirit or demon basically messing with electricity and plumbing, likely fascinated, with the hotel's modern conveniences. The most documented Driskill ghost story, and one of Austin's best ghost stories, is that of Samantha, the 4-year-old daughter of a senator who passed in 1887. In a freak accident, she actually tumbled down the marble grand staircase to her demise while chasing a ball that her father bought her. The Driskill has welcomed very high society events and historic, political events over the years. In 1934, Lyndon Baines Johnson met his future wife Lady Bird at the Driskill. He later used the hotel as his headquarters as well for the White House Press Corps. Now, this haunted hotel has a total of 189 guest rooms and daily history tours are available. So if you're ever in the area, give it a go. It's free for guests and $20 for non-guests. The old state capitol, located in Baton Rouge in Louisiana. So this place, it looks like a castle and it's haunted like one too. I mean, the old state capitol in Baton Rouge is a stunning Gothic revival building perched on the Mississippi River, but behind the stained glass windows and spiral staircases lies a very long and eerie history. It was originally built in 1852. The building served as Louisiana's state house and witnessed everything from Civil War occupation to massive political upheaval. Now, it even burned down once and had to be rebuilt. But the real reason people say it's haunted, well, Pierre Couvillon, a fiery politician who passed away during a heated debate inside the chambers, apparently still roams the halls and rooms there and refuses to leave. Visitors claim he's still there. Now, many, if not almost all visitors, claim to have heard banging desks, slamming doors, and someone, likely Pierre, mumbling angrily in French. So I mean, most non-French speaking visitors don't actually know what he's saying. I mean, he could honestly just be recommending the best place close by to get a hot dog, but we'll never know. Or he's saying get out. I mean, that's also a really good high possibility. Now, staff and tourists have reported hearing phantom footsteps when the building is empty, unexplained cold drafts, and even lights flickering without any power issues. Now, the basement basement is particularly unsettling. Paranormal investigators have recorded EVPs, strange electromagnetic readings, and a persistent sense of just being watched. So basically all things spooky that you would expect when visiting, well, a spooky haunted place. If there's a checklist, this place ticks off every single box. It's now a museum, but employees refuse to work there alone after dark. I don't blame them. I mean, some claim the building itself seems to breathe, like it's alive and angry. I mean, that's kind of terrifying in itself. I don't want to go anywhere where a building is breathing. Like, what? Would you visit this place? Let me know. The DeRidder jail, located in DeRidder, Louisiana. Locals call it the hanging jail, and the name itself, isn't just for show. In 1928, 2 men convicted of executing a taxi driver were sent to the scaffold right inside the jail to be taken out, which was, at the time, a very rare and brutal public execution that set the tone for the building's eerie legacy. Now, the jail was built in 1914 and has been abandoned for decades, but investigators and visitors swear it's anything but empty. Cold spots, disembodied voices, ghostly apparitions have been reported throughout the decaying cells. Now, some visitors say they hear a woman weeping softly near cell number 3, despite the jail never having housed any female inmates. So my guess would be like a widow, maybe a girlfriend, a mother. I don't know. I'm just trying to run through like what would make the most sense as to why a woman would go and hang out there, but whatever. The actual hanging chamber remains intact, complete with the original trapdoor and lever. Now, paranormal groups have documented strange electromagnetic spikes in the gallows room and caught shadowy figures darting across camera lenses. So imagine, if you will, like a typical jump scare in your favorite scary movie. If that's not enough, during one overnight tour, a man claimed he actually felt someone grab his ankle and there was no one near him. Another visitor collapsed in the gallows room, later saying she felt like someone was trying to pull her down with them. Oh my god, the horror, just imagine. Now remind me to never go visit there. I'm good on that one, thanks. St. Louis Cemetery number 1 in New Orleans, Louisiana. Now, New Orleans has plenty of haunted cemeteries, as you'd imagine, but St. Louis Cemetery number 1, founded in 1789, is the crown jewel of the departed. It's the final resting place of Marie Laveau, the infamous voodoo queen, whose power still terrifies skeptics and believers alike. Speaking on this queen, in case you don't know anything at all about her, well, she was a real historical figure, a big deal, a Creole woman who practiced a mix of, Catholicism and voodoo in the 1800s and was known for her healing, spiritual readings, as well as rumored curses. Now, since her passing in 1881, people claim to have seen her wandering between the tombs, wearing a red and white headscarf and clutching a snake. Very specific and also very creepy, right? Visitors leave, offerings as a way to appease her and basically hope she doesn't attack them or curse them. I mean, many people leave like lipstick, rum, coins, etc. And they also do this though to ask for favors, but disrespect her grave and it's said she'll follow you. Like, not just around the premises, no, she'll follow you home. One tourist reportedly kicked over an offering and later woke up at home with scratch marks on his back and bruises in the shape of fingers. Even seasoned tour guides refuse to walk certain rows alone. Other graves in the cemetery also hold secrets. Phantom figures are seen peeking out from behind tombs, and multiple guests have caught orbs and strange mists on camera, especially around dusk. Now, this place sounds like something straight out of my nightmares. I feel like I've been there before, again, in a nightmare. I don't think I care to visit in person, so if you do, let me know how that goes, and remember not to disrespect her. Maybe bring some lipstick, maybe MAC or like a YSL one. Dollar brand won't get you anywhere with her.